And welcome into the WECT Digital Studio. I'm John Evans, along with First Alert meteorologist Ella Tansley, coming in today to bring you an update on massive Hurricane Erin. This is a large storm. This is a storm that is making its way through the Caribbean. And right now, Ella is forecast to stay well offshore and go in between North Carolina and Bermuda. But you can see by the size of this storm, and already it's 140 mile an hour winds, this thing is already starting to impact our coast, right?
That's right, John. We're already starting to see that elevated risk of rip currents here at home. I believe we were at a high risk for today, and that's expected to remain as we go throughout the next several days. And if you have been to the beach today, you have noticed that we have seen some of those larger waves in play, and that's also going to be the theme for the rest of this work week. You can see how rough it is outside in Wrightsville Beach. It's not advised to go into the water.
We already had reports of more than 70 rip current rescues at Wrightsville Beach today. That's why there's a swimming advisory posted for Wrightsville Beach from tomorrow through the end of the week. We have Oak Island that's already flying red flags. Ocean Isle Beach. Let's take a look at OIB down that way. Ocean Isle Beach, pretty sunset.
Yeah, gorgeous sunset.
But the waves right now and through the rest of this week are not going to be the best for getting into the water. We also had some Surf City rescues. This is a look at the beach in Surf City right now up in that Pender County community. So we have a lot of concerns about what might be ahead this week because of Hurricane Erin. And we're live on the WECT News Facebook page. If you have any kind of questions, we will try to get them answered here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Ellie, you and I have both talked about this. We talked about this when the last set of storms came through. Please, no one on social media knows where this storm is going to go 100%. And we've seen a lot of posts right now that said the Outer Banks is going to take a direct hit. North Carolina, it's not turning. It's going to hit us. All we can do right now is go by what the experts say. And the experts say, and nearly all of the models you were saying earlier say, this thing is going to turn before it gets to our coast.
That's right, John. This system, it's going to stay offshore. And I know it's going to be a large and powerful storm, and that gives some storm anxiety, especially in an area that's already so storm fatigued. So a lot of us have concerns whenever you see a large, powerful storm off the coast. That can be a bit unnerving. And this system, it's expected to stay offshore. I think there's some confusion right now, especially because there's a tropical storm watch. It was issued for the Outer Banks. So that's to our north, and it's for the coastal areas. And pretty much that tropical storm watch is just stating that tropical storm conditions are possible in that area over the next 48 hours. And if we think about the geography of the Outer Banks, it sticks out. So that means that the wind field of that system, it's going to be offshore, but it'll be closer to that. And also they're narrow islands, and they're expecting to see waves of 15 over 20 feet in some cases. So that's what has the potential to lead to some flooding. Now, I want to talk about the size of this storm as well, because it's expected to grow in size over the next few days. And because that system is expected to expand, that wind field is also going to grow with it. So that's why that tropical storm watch was issued for the Outer Banks.
And we do know that Dare and Hyde counties have taken that step specifically for Ocracoke Island, some of the other smaller communities. And what you were saying here is, number one, the waves are going to be huge.
Yeah.
And it's a thin island, so one of the main reasons is the highway there on the Outer Banks, there's a good chance that thing might go underwater because of overwash, because of erosion. So they want the mandatory evacuations that start tomorrow morning on the Outer Banks because of those kind of conditions. It's not like this storm is going to brush the Outer Banks. But as Ella said, It sticks out further. The wind field is out there, but it's the surf that this thing is going to generate right now, which is the main concern, specifically on the Outer Banks.
On the Outer Banks and here, we're going to see that elevated surf, breakers of 3, 6, even higher waves are possible in some of those localized areas. I wouldn't be surprised if Surf City, Pender County coast, I wouldn't be surprised if they saw some of those higher waves, but mainly for most of southeastern North Carolina, we're just going to receive those marine impacts, like that high risk of rip currents for tomorrow. And then that trend continues as we go through the rest of this work week. So that's why it's important to stay out of the water and really just try to avoid going to the beach, because it's not going to be ideal to be outside at the beach during these conditions.
We do have a couple of questions. Alex Irvin wanted to know any severe risks with this system going by us. Alex, what we've already talked about, the biggest risk here is going to be surf and rip currents at this point, right, Ola?
So we're not expecting those impacts of rain, severe weather with this system. Now, I know there's a lot in play over the next few days. We have those rain chances, but that's due to a cold front that's going to stall offshore. That's going to be our main forecast driver for our rain and storm chances. Unlikely to see any severe weather with that system. Erin not going to bring any rain or severe weather to our area. So you can take a deep breath with that. Yeah,
the system that she's talking about is not related to Erin at this point. It's a different system. It's almost kind of coming down from the north more than anything else, right?
Yeah, that system, it's still well to our northwest, going to push through later on tonight, and we'll see improving conditions. So the showers and storms you see on the radar right now, or maybe you're at home and you hear some thunder, that's not from Erin. That's from that cold front that's set to stall to our south.
Okay, we're going to go back to your graphics in 1 second. Adam Cole, will there be any shelters open because I'm on a well and without power I can't flush my toilet? I don't expect right now, Adam, that any shelters will be open around here. I don't think the need is going to be there. As Ella and our First Alert Weather Team have talked about, this storm is going to be so far offshore that we're going to see the impacts along the coast. Maybe in Dare County, maybe in Hyde County up there, because they do have the evacuations. But I think that's mostly for visitors at this point in time. They want to get all visitors off the Outer Banks.
That's right, John. The Outer Banks, they're going to be experiencing heightened impacts, mainly just those marine impacts like we're talking about, and even some stronger winds possible, and really talking about tropical storm force winds for parts of the Outer Banks. Not here in southeastern North Carolina. We're just getting those marine impacts.
Mandy wanted to know severe risks to Oak Island, as you were just saying, and we have the graphic here that I'll show you. I'll punch it back up again here. The Brunswick County beaches tomorrow, east-facing trends, the south-facing beaches in Brunswick County. Mandy, that will likely be the biggest impact along the coast in Brunswick County.
Rip currents and dangerous surf, that's the impacts with this system. So we're not talking about severe weather from Erin. We're not talking about heavy thunderstorms, waterspouts, tornadoes. Those are not going to be threats to us. Our weather's actually going to be pretty nice. Yeah. Lots of dry time for the next several days, but this system just driving up those rip currents and even some of those higher waves.
Okay, let's get back to your graphics, Ella, and show you. Oh, we have your graphic up there. Let's go on with your graphics and what we're talking about here as far as the impact. And you were talking on our 6 o'clock newscast, the last one we did with you, that the surf is going to be the biggest part. And look at this, the red and the breakers and the strong rips. That's where really our impact's going to be. Yeah,
so breakers over 3-6 feet, locally higher waves possible. I would not be surprised to see those higher waves along Onslow, Pender County coastline. A strong rip current risk lasting for the rest of this week, and even the chance for some tidal flooding, John. So you think about areas that typically flood with a higher than normal high tide under a sunny day, or even just whenever we get heavy rainfall like Canal Street and Carolina Beach, that area is notorious for flooding. And because we'll see some of these higher waves, we have that chance to see some tidal flooding with this system. It's expected to be quite minor, luckily, so we're not going to see those higher impacts with this system, at least here. But if you see the green, heavy rain, wind, unlikely for our area.
The big breakers here, 3 foot plus, 6 foot plus breakers Wednesday and Thursday, and the strong rips. If you missed us when we first came on, Wrightsville Beach right now under a swim advisory, no swim advisory rather. It's basically they don't want people in the water through Friday at this
Correct.
point in time. Oak Island flying red flags down that way. So again, the folks along the beaches are making sure that people are aware. They know that Labor Day weekend's coming up. They know folks are trying to get that last trip to the beach before school starts again. And so they just want those trips to be safe. And at this point in time, beach, great. If you sit there and you just kind of enjoy the surf, it's going to be fun to look at from the beaches. But at this point in time, is not going to be great to look into. Will Willard, and what about Bladen County? Willard is really not going to be impacted because it's far enough inland that actually going to see some pretty nice weather, right, Ella?
Yeah, John. So plenty of sunshine for the next several days. Our inland counties, you'll see nice weather, the chance of those summertime pop-up showers and storms, that normal summer weather. Any rain that we get this week, it's not going to be due to Hurricane Erin because that system staying offshore. Now, we're talking about Outer Banks. They have the potential to see some of those outer bands move in. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of those higher level clouds with this system move into our area, but we're talking about clouds and not rain or severe weather. Our impacts marine with Hurricane Erin.
And that's basically because it's a huge storm. Massively in geography. It's a big storm. And so some of those clouds are going to spin off as they get away from the core, spin off and come on land. You might see that as the satellite shows it going past. Doesn't mean there's rain or heavy winds coming with it.
Correct, John, or severe weather, tornado risk. That's not going to apply to us with this system. It's just a large one. It's expected to grow in size. So we're really talking about a powerful, large system off the coast. I know that causes a lot of anxiety, especially folks who have been through numerous storms. You know, Florence, PTC 8, still fresh on the mind. So lots of storm anxiety here. We're here to tell you today that you can take a deep breath and just the best thing you can do, not head out to the beach. That's how you can stay safe with this system. Okay,
one more time. This is the impact timeline that Ella was talking about. Really the heavy surf, the 3+ feet breakers, the 6 foot plus breakers, easy for me to say, and the strong rips for the rest of this week, even into Saturday as far as the breakers. That's really going to be the biggest impact along our coast. Inland, we're going to have nice weather, dry weather. Along the coast is where we're going to see the impact from the storm. Let's have some more of your graphics and tell more of that story.
So here's where Erin is right now. You can see that large Category 4 hurricane. Thankfully, that powerful core is offshore for a majority of those Caribbean islands, and it's likely going to stay offshore, unlikely to impact any land with that center core. Sustained winds, 140 miles per hour, gust 165. But it's really not about labels, John. It's about those impacts. That's what's most important whenever we're talking about tropical systems. We want to get you to its latest track. You can see that center staying offshore from the Carolinas and from Bermuda. So really any impacts with land would be due to those outer bands for both the Outer Banks, North Carolina, and even into Bermuda. But here at home, not expecting to see any rain or severe weather with this system. That core staying offshore. It's important to reiterate that. But I do want to show you what we could possibly see on the radar with this system as it passes by. You can see a massive hurricane moving in between the Carolinas and Bermuda, that center staying well offshore. So that's the most important thing with this system, as we're just likely going to get those marine impacts. And we do have some of those facts for you. That large system is going to track east of the Carolinas by Thursday. Heavy surf, that's our impacts for the Cape Fear. Minor tidal flooding possible, and it's just going to be a bigger problem for the Outer Banks with those higher waves and the potential to see some of those stronger winds as well. But here at home, marine impacts, unlikely to see any rain with this system.
Well, once again, we're getting some questions on the WECT live Facebook post right now. Monica from Brunswick County, like Bald Head Island, she asks about. Bald Head down there off the Brunswick County coast. So I imagine it, like many of the other Brunswick County communities, Oak Island, Ocean Isle Beach, Holden Beach, all of those areas, going to see a higher rip current risk and going to see heavier surf for the next several days.
That's right, John. So we're talking about those breakers of 3, 6+ feet and that high risk of rip currents for tomorrow and likely going to stay for the rest of this week. So we're talking about marine impacts with this system. Don't head offshore. Don't swim in the water. It's not going to be safe, especially if you are not a strong swimmer, but really not advised to get into the water because it's quite dangerous. Dangerous surf and rips. It's the number 3 weather-related killer when we're talking about tropical systems.
Right. And so if you weren't with us again earlier, more than 70 rescues here today along Wrightsville Beach, which you're seeing right now. This is a live picture from one of our WECT weather cameras. Wrightsville Beach, more than 70 water rescues. And it's only going to get worse this week as that storm gets even closer.
Yeah, John, so we're talking about tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. You're going to see those higher waves as that system gets closer to really the Carolinas and Bermuda, so closer to our coast. But remember, the core of it staying offshore. That's important to continue to reiterate, especially with a lot of the misinformation that has been spread on social media. But the waves and rip currents are going to get worse as that system moves in between the Carolinas and Bermuda.
Take you to Surf City now, where there were also some rescues going on earlier. You can see the surf coming in. Pretty good sized waves not far off the beach there in Surf City. So I imagine the surfers are probably doing a 360 or a somersault. They're looking for the bigger waves. And then here's Ocean Isle Beach. We had Oak Island in Brunswick County with a red flag flying today. That is expected to continue all week long. So once again, Hurricane Erin, we'll get another set of updates at about 11 o'clock, right?
We'll get an update at 8 and 11. So yeah, it's typical to see those updates whenever you have these large systems, or really any system with the National Hurricane Center. You have the 5, 8, 11, and 2 o'clock updates. So really every several hours with these systems. Okay,
well, First Alert meteorologist Ella Tansley is going to keep an eye on things tonight. Again, what she said earlier bears repeating, is that the forecast track for this storm is expected to keep it offshore. A lot of social media out there saying the Outer Banks is going to take a direct hit, and that's why they're getting people off the Outer Banks. No, that's not correct. Basically, what they did was they started mandatory evacuations because of the threat of such heavy waves and the potential for flooding and beach overwash, right?
Yep, that's right, John. Remember, this is that large, powerful system, and it's driving up the surf here, really all along the East Coast. And with the Outer Banks, they're under that tropical storm watch just due to, remember, the geography. It sticks out a little bit more, so it's closer to that wind field, closer to the center of that system, but that system center staying well offshore. There's a lot of moving parts to remember with this system, so it's just important to remember that this system staying offshore, bringing in that heavy surf and even some of those heavier winds as we look for the Outer Banks. But here at home, it's mainly just those marine impacts.
It is a big storm. It covers a lot of geographical area. As you were saying, one of the things I found interesting is when you put up the future radar, basically the storm itself goes from the coast of the United States all the way out to Bermuda. I mean, it stretches all the way out there. We've had some of those storms, some of these systems that have been compact. They haven't been that large geographically. But this one is huge in stature and size.
It is, and it's only, we can see what it looks like now on radar, and it's expected to grow from there. Here's the simulated satellite
look
model.
At this. When it comes up there, you see some bands already going on and bands hitting. The severe weather may not, but the bands of this storm are going from the East Coast to Bermuda. I mean, that's how big this thing is.
And when you have large, powerful systems, it's typical to see that elevated rip current risk and those higher surf waves along much of the East Coast or along whatever coastal area whenever that system is offshore. So really up and down the East Coast, you're going to experience those dangerous surf and rip conditions. This system not impacting us directly with that severe weather threat, those tropical storm or hurricane force winds here in the Cape Fear, or even rain.
Okay, that's going to wrap up our special here on the WECT's digital studio. We are live on Facebook and on the WECT YouTube channel. Ella and the rest of the First Alert weather team going to continue to follow this storm. A brand new set of coordinates coming out at 8. We'll have those tonight on WECT News at 10 on Fox Wilmington. Then another brand new set for the top of our 11 o'clock newscast as folks maybe hit the sack and get ready to get up for Tuesday morning.
That's right, John. And then if you're staying up early tomorrow, 5 o'clock for Carolina in the morning, brand new update. Brand new update
as well. I'm John Evans in the WECT digital studio for First Alert meteorologist Ella Tansley. We thank you for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox Wilmington and again at 11 o'clock on WECT News. Good night, everybody.